Welcome back. If you love simple tools that make your business easier to manage, you are in the right place. This channel is built for small business owners who want to turn Google Sheets into their most powerful business assistant. In my previous videos, I have already covered the inventory tab and the sales tab, and I also walked you through all the automation features that make your entries fast, accurate, and consistent. So to catch up before starting the expenses tab, you can tap the link on your screen so that it helps you fully understand how your inventory and your sales work together inside your business tracker. Now let's move straight into the expenses tab. When running a business, making sales is just one part of the equation. To calculate accurate profits, you must also record every expense involved in your operations. The business tracker automatically combines your sales, the cost of goods sold, your expenses. It combines all this inside the dashboard to calculate your true profitability, both monthly and yearly. Just like every other tab, as a new user, the very first thing you need to do here is to clear the demo data before entering your real expenses. However, do not delete the expense type drop-down list in column E. Simply reset the active rows back to their placeholder option so you can begin afresh. And then, unlike the inventory or the sales tab, there aren't many automated gray column formulas here. Only the serial number and the ID depend on automation. That is the auto ID column in column C. If your serial number column is not updating automatically, simply refer to the earlier videos where I explained how to restore formulas correctly in the settings tab. As for the auto ID column, you don't need to worry about formulas at all. The ID is generated by a built-in system across all the tabs. It updates automatically once a valid date is entered in column D. So even if you delete something in that column by mistake, the ID generation will still work normally. The ID system in the expenses tab works exactly the same way as in the inventory and the sales tab. So we have two ID fields. The first is a manual ID column where you can enter your own custom ID if needed. And the other is an auto ID column which is auto generated once a valid date is entered. To maintain accuracy, there is a built-in duplicate protection system. So this is how that works. If for any reason two IDs happen to match, whether in the manual ID column or the auto ID column, the entry is instantly flagged to alert you that a duplicate exists. So this ensures that every expense record that you enter remains unique, even though the auto ID column is designed not to repeat any ID. The automation in this tab depends on the date column. Once you enter a transaction date, the auto serial number generates and the auto ID also generates. So this rule becomes active. Now let's look at the expense type column. This is one of the most important columns in the expenses tab. So I'm going to be talking extensively on this column and the product details column. So I want to focus a bit on this column because it is going to guide you on how to make use of this tab correctly. You're going to find a drop-down list containing all the common business expense categories. If your expense doesn't fall under any of the listed options, just simply select the other option. There are two ways to use this tab. The first is a quick and a simple one. There are three specific expense types in the dropdown that the dashboard analyzes in detail. So these include the payment fees, the advertising expenses, and the other direct products expenses. If you don't need this detailed analysis in the dashboard, if you don't really care about it, if you don't want to feel concerned about, analyzing these details in the dashboard, then the product details column in this case is going to be optional. You can simply select your expense type under column E, and then you enter the expenses amount directly in the amount column. So in this way, your tracker is still going to work very perfectly, except for the fact that there won't be any special analysis for these three items on the dashboard. Now, the second option is, of course, the option I'm going to recommend for you if you care to go with it. Now, if you want the dashboard to analyze those three items that I stated earlier on, that's the payment fees, the advertising expenses, and then the other direct product expenses. So if you want your dashboard to analyze these items on the list accurately, then you must enter the correct information in the product details column. So this is going to ensure proper tracking and accurate product related insights. So now with all this being said, let's now break each of these down with examples so you can understand better. Let's assume you paid a supplier $2,000 and maybe this payment was made through bank transfer. So the bank charged you a $200 fee. So that $200 is a business expense, specifically a payment fee. So this is how you are going to need to record it in the expenses tab. Under expense type, select payment fees. Then under the details column, we can just enter bank charges. Then in the amount column, you type 200. So for the paid to column, you just enter the name of whoever received the payment. And in the reference column, you can enter the bank transaction ID. So although these are optional details that may not be necessary, that is if you do not need them. But of course, to keep proper details of your expenses transaction, it might be recommended for you to fill in these details. So this is going to help the dashboard to show exactly how much you spend on payment processing fees. Let's say that you run an advert for product 2 and you spend $10,000 on it. Don't forget here that product 2 is the way we have been labeling our demo products right from the beginning of the video series. So to record this correctly, under the expenses type, under the expense type, choose advertising expenses. Then under the details column, you must enter the product name. It is highly recommended that you enter the product name. So in this case, it is product 2. Then enter 10,000 in the amount column, then fill in the paid to column and the reference column if applicable. So entering the product name is very important because it allows the dashboard to calculate the product's true ROI, combining sales, costs of goods sold, and your advertising costs. So I'm going to explain further what ROI does to your business. I'm going to explain that shortly. The other direct product expenses in this context, simply refers to those expenses that are directly linked to a product, but not actually the cost of buying the product itself. So the cost of buying the product is treated as purchase costs, and that is already captured as cost of goods sold inside the sales tab. So we don't have to include that here. That is the direct cost of buying the products. We don't have to include that here so that we can avoid double counting. Now, there are different examples of these direct product expenses which are not tied to the cost of buying the product itself. So these examples include packaging, it could be label printing, it could be custom branding, it could be wrapping materials and stuff like that. So let's use an example to clarify this. Let's assume that you spend $5,000 on packaging. So you spend $5,000 on packaging for product 4. So how you enter this correctly is that under the expense type, you select other product direct expenses because this is directly tied to the product. Then under the product details column, you enter product 4, that is the products on which the packaging is made. Then under the amount column, you enter $5,000. Then in the note column, you can enter packaging. So this is going to be for clarity purpose. So you can also fill in the paid to and the reference column if they are needed. Now, recording this correctly ensures that there is accuracy in both product profitability and your overall business analysis. Now, let's talk briefly about product ROI. Now, this is an important part of why we record product specific expenses like I explained earlier on. ROI simply means return on investments. So, most business owners must understand what this term is all about. And for non-technical users who might find this a bit strange, let me just try to explain this as simple as I can. You see, in business terms, ROI measures how much profit you make compared to how much you spend on a specific product. So for each product that you sell, your ROI is influenced by your revenue from sales, the cost of goods sold, that's your purchase costs, and every other expenses that are associated to this product. So when these numbers are recorded correctly, your dashboard can calculate how profitable each of the products truly is. This is not just how much the product is selling, but how much it actually returns after all associated costs. So the purpose for this is that it helps business owners and entrepreneurs to identify which products are truly performing very well. Then it also spots products that are consuming too many resources unnecessarily. So this is going to help you as a business owner to make smarter decisions on how to go about your pricing, how to price your products, how to go about your business, sorry, your marketing strategies, and it is also going to help you to, you know, go about stocking up your products. So the reason for all this is that it is going to help you as a business owner to know how to allocate funds to the most profitable areas of your business. So, in simple terms, product ROI shows whether a product is worth the efforts and the money that you are putting into it. So, that is why entering the correct product names and related expenses is extremely important in this tab. Let's look at another important category of expenses. There are certain costs that are not directly tied to any product at all. They are simply those costs that keep your business running. So we refer to such costs as general operating expenses. So these are costs that are not tied to any product and they are not linked to any product analysis in the dashboard. Examples of such expenses include office supplies, administrative expenses, utilities, rent, and so on like that. So when you are recording such expenses, you can fill in the details column freely based on what the transaction is all about. So you are not strictly compelled to enter any specific product name or anything like that. You are meant to fill this column freely. So any figure you enter in the amount column is automatically treated as an operating expense in the dashboard. So it is not going to be linked to any specific product. These operating expenses are still added to your total expenses, which means they work together with all product related expenses to give you a complete and accurate expense analysis in the dashboard. Let's walk through two clear examples. Let's consider a first example of where you bought some items maybe for office use. So supposing you purchase $25,000 worth of office supplies from Latfirm's digital services. So this is the way you're going to record it. You enter the date of transaction as usual. Under the expense type column, you select office supplies from the drop-down list. In the details column, you just type in something like purchase office supplies. Then in the amount column, you enter 25,000. So that represents your $25,000. Then under the pay to column, you enter Latfirm's digital services. So that is who you are paying to. So this is going to record the expense as a general operating cost and does not influence product level ROI at all. Now, we look at a second example where we make we make payments for electricity bill. So let's assume you pay $40,000 to Latco Electric. So you record it as under the expense type, you select utilities. In the product details column, you type in electricity bill, that is free text. Then in the amount column, you enter 40,000, which stands for the amount you are paying for the electricity bill. Then you are paying to Latco Electric. So you enter this name under the paid to column. Now, utility bills like this represent ongoing business expenses and are included in your total operating costs in the dashboard. These examples show how simple it is to record everyday business expenses that are not tied to any specific products. They all flow into your total expenses calculations. So they help you to see the full picture of your business spending and financial health. And that brings us to the end of the expenses tutorial. By now, you have seen how your business tracker connects every part of your operations, from inventory and sales all the way down to individual expenses, giving you a clear and accurate view of your true profits. When you record your expenses consistently and correctly, the dashboard can do its job, showing you where your money is going, how much you are earning, and which products are giving you the strongest returns. In our next video, I'm going to move on to the payment tab. So this is where you're going to record both incoming and outgoing payments so you can clearly see your cash inflow and outflow analyzed inside your dashboard. If you found this guide helpful, please always remember to like, share the video and subscribe so you don't miss any important steps in setting up your business tracker. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next video.